oh,
Listen, oh,
think more.
think more.
Good day, dear friends. Today is Saturday, 20 May 2023, and day 7 of our Communications Week program. It is also the feast of Saint Bernardine of Siena. Our topic for reflection today is speaking with patience and spiritual earnestness. Speaking with patience and spiritual earnestness. The first reading from Acts of the Apostles, chapter 18, verse 23 to 28 reads, He, referring to Apollos, was an eloquent man with a sound knowledge of the scriptures, and yet, though he had been given instruction in the way of the Lord and preached with great earnestness, and was accurate in all details he taught about Jesus, he had only experienced the baptism of John. Acts chapter 18, verses 24 and 25. Pope Francis dedicated some portion of this year's World Communications Day message to drawing our attention to the virtues of St. Francis de Sales. He said of him, one could say about him, a pleasant voice multiplies friends, and a gracious tongue multiplies courtesy. Sirach chapter 6, verse 5. He also described St. Francis de Sales in the following words, that he was meek, attitude, humanity, and willingness to dialogue patiently with everyone, especially with those who disagreed with him, made him an extraordinary witness of God's merciful love, especially with those, being able to dialogue, especially with those who disagreed with him. That made him an extraordinary witness of God's merciful love. That's definitely a great challenge to most of us. How we handle and relate to those who disagree with us. We meet that every time. Similarly, qualities found in St. Francis de Sales are also, interestingly, found in St. Bernardine of Siena, whose feast we celebrate today. He is known as the patron of advertisers. He served the sick in the hospital, and even with the outbreak of the Great Pestilence in 1400, he persuaded other men to do the same. The ability to persuade others comes from the heart that is passionate enough to speak to other hearts. Speaking is an act natural to everyone, but great speakers also possess the gift or skill of eloquence in delivering their speeches. To speak with great earnestness requires deep knowledge of the matter, effective delivery that is devoid of acrimony and toxicity, but rich with a language that can disarm even hardened souls. After all, the letter kills, they say, but the Spirit gives life. Compare 2 Corinthians chapter 3, verse 6. Effective communication comes from the heart, with its persuasive character. Looking inward, in the 2023 World Communications Day message, Pope Francis said, as I have emphasized, in the church there is a great need to listen to and to hear one another. In the church, there is a great need to listen to and to hear one another. He also said, We have a pressing need in the church for communication that kindles hearts, that is balm on wounds, and that shines light on the journey of our brothers and sisters. It means, in a way, the words spoken in our church, in our ecclesial communities, be it during the liturgy, in our societies, in our interactions, must be words of life, words of hope, words that give strength, not words of toxicity based on anger, annoyance, hatred, ethnicity, and what have you. So we must ask ourselves, do we speak about Jesus from our heart or from our head? Do we speak to the heart of our audience, our people, those we address, or we just parrot mere routine pain and that does not even make meaning to us and will hardly make any meaning to the people we are addressing? Do our words give hope to people, or is full of negativity, condemnation, and running people down? Do we even have sound knowledge that has been preceded by a good preparation of our sermon and our messages? All of these are very, very important if we are to indeed speak with patience and spiritual earnestness. It will be of help if we can read up chapter 3 of the document Evangelii Gaudium by Pope Francis. Chapter 3 of that document concentrates partly on what the true nature of sermon should be. Pope Francis did not spare us. He was straight, he was direct, what we must do in order to deliver good sermons. Please read chapter 3 of Evangelii Gaudium. Also, let's further read the teaching of the day in our manual, from our manual, and learn from Jesus as the perfect communicator. Finally, we read of Pope Benedict XVI, we recall, when he said we need to repropose faith in a culture which has lost the instinct to believe. And I find that very profound. Reproposing faith in a culture which has lost the instinct to believe. Things are no longer as usual. That people will normally, most likely, gravitate to the church and accept whatever it is said. The culture has changed. So we need more dedication, more training on how to speak to this new generation. That requires effective communication. Pope Francis also adds, still in this year's message, and I quote, "I dream of an ecclesial communion that knows how to let itself be guided by the Holy Spirit, gentle and at the same time prophetic, that knows how to find new ways and means for wonderful proclamation it is called to deliver in the third millennium." It's calling for a church that is creative in knowing how to reach out to this new generation. Dear friends, tomorrow is Sunday, the last day of our Communications Week and World Communications Day. Please remember that there will be special communication collection in all parishes and at all masses. May God bless your generosity. We are very aware how things are difficult, but God will continue to bless you. If you have, and may you have, please give. If you don't seem to be disposed to have, your prayer is also very important and needed. And may God bless you and make you a giver. If you also want to support our national office directly, indeed, we have a lot of work and a lot we are doing expanding the media apostolate and frontiers of the Catholic Church in Nigeria. We still need cameras, we need teleprompters, we need audio mixers, and many other things. Please feel free to call our number, rather, text our number. Texting is better than calling, please, because we can't pick all the calls. Text our number, we will call you back and follow up. Whatever you give will be highly appreciated. Come week, growing media literacy for discipleship. Thank you. God bless you.
Communication. It is sacred. For synodality. For ability. For community. For connectivity. Compatibility. Promoting media literacy. Oh, the way to go. Come, oh, the way to go. Come weak, for creativity,